What's going on? It's the Manifold Hustle, and in today's video, I'm going to be comparing the Helium mobile phone plan versus the Mint mobile phone plan. Now, I do have both of these services. I had Mint Mobile for over 5 years, and I had Helium Mobile off and on throughout the last year of 2024. In December of 2024, I decided I was going to fully switch over to the Helium mobile phone plan. And then 2 weeks later, I ended up still having to have Mint Mobile as well. So I got both services, and I'll explain the reason why later on in this video. But for now, I just want to go over the differences and the similarities of both of these plans, starting with the similarities. And if you guys end up deciding to switch over to one of these services, I'll have referral links down in the description below where you can get some kind of credit or bonus that can be applied to your bill. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, for the similarities, I only got a few things that I want to talk about. The first thing is that both of these plans are MVNOs. That stands for Mobile Virtual Network Operator. That just means basically that they don't use their own towers. Both of these plans use T-Mobile towers, actually. Helium Mobile, on the other hand, they have a hybrid coverage, which I'll get into later on, but they're using T-Mobile towers as well as their own network that they're building. That is a difference there, but they're both similar in the fact that they do use T-Mobile towers. And then the last similarity is that both of these plans are prepaid plans. You don't have to be on a contract. You can cancel at any time. And generally, that just means that these prepaid plans are cheaper than the traditional phone lines. So that's about all I wanted to talk about as far as the similarities. Let's go ahead and get into the differences. I'll be talking about the difference in price, customer service, the mobile app experience, the network coverage, the setup and activation, and then also the international roaming. Now, one of the biggest differences about Helium Mobile is that it's not only a phone service, but it's also a crypto project. There'll be a lot of different crypto components to this project and to this phone service that I'll be talking about throughout the video. So just keep that in mind. But these crypto components are only optional. If you only want to use it as a phone service, then that's completely fine. You could do that. You don't have to do anything having to do with crypto at all. So let's go ahead and talk about the pricing, and we'll start with the Helium mobile plan. There's one option that you can choose from, which is $20 a month. With that, you'll get 28 gigs of data. After that 28 gigs, it does get slowed down. And then you'll have unlimited talk and text, of course. With that, you'll also get 5 gigs of hotspot tethering. That is separate from the 28 gigs that you'll receive for personal use. Now, if you run out of this 28 gigs, you do have the option to buy more at $7.50 per gig. If you do end up buying more gigs after that 28, then that can only be used towards your personal use and not for hotspot tethering. Now, there is an option where you can go into the app and turn on the mapping. You have to go into the app and activate it. And if you do, if you move enough spaces on their map, then you will get rewarded at the end of the day with their tokens. You can save those tokens, you can cash those tokens out, or you can apply those tokens towards this bill. Now, that is one of the crypto components of this. So if you don't want to do that, then you don't have to. It's something that's completely optional. Now, Helium Mobile, they like to keep things simple. You got one plan option. That's $20 a month, and that's it. There's no other options. On the other hand, Mint Mobile has a variety of options. You'll see on the screen, you have an option to choose from a 3-month plan, a 6-month plan, or a 12-month plan. After you choose the time frame that you want, then you can choose the gigs that you need or the data that you need. And there's a 5 gig option, a 15 gig option, a 20 gig option, and then they have an unlimited plan, which they say it's unlimited, but really it slows down after 40 gigs of data. There's also an unnecessary plan, which might not show up for new customers, but if you have a plan already, you can upgrade into the unnecessary plan, which gives you 60 gigs of data before it starts to slow down. Now, for the 5 gig, the 15 gig, and the 20 gig, you can use that for personal use or for hotspot tethering. It's all combined in one. But with the unlimited plan, they're going to give you 10 gigs of hotspot tethering that's separate from the 40 gigs that they give you. And then the unnecessary plan, they'll give you 20 gigs of hotspot tethering that's also separate from the 60 gigs that they give you. Now, for the price, I'm going to have that up on the screen so you can compare the prices. There's so many, I'm not going to go over all of them. But keep in mind, these are the regular prices. If you're a new customer coming into this, there's usually a bunch of different promos that Mint Mobile is having. And So it could be instead of $15 a month, you'll get a promotional offer of $10 a month. But once you go to renew your plan, you're going to be paying the regular price. And so Mint Mobile, they don't have any monthly plans. You have to choose between the 3-month plan, the 6-month plan, and the 12-month plan. Whatever you choose, you do have to pay it all up front. So if you choose the 3 months, you're going to pay all 3 months all at once. It's a big lump sum payment. If you do 12 months, then you pay it all at once. Generally, if you get the 12-month plans, you're going to save in the long term. So that's about it for the pricing. Let's get into the coverage for each of these plans. Like I said, both of these plans, they use T-Mobile towers. So up on the screen, I'll see if I could put a whole coverage map for you. And that's going to be generally the same between both of them. The difference lies with Helium Mobile having dual coverage, like I explained before. And so how this works is anybody can go into the store and buy an indoor or outdoor hotspot. Once it's set up, Helium Mobile customers, if they go into the range of one of these hotspots and they start using their device, then they're using that hotspot data and not the T-Mobile towers. If you end up wanting to buy one of these hotspots, you'll get rewarded for every time somebody uses your hotspot. You can actually provide yourself coverage if you need. If I was in an area where there were no hotspots, then I'm just using regular T-Mobile towers. But if I go into a coffee shop where the owner of the coffee shop has a hotspot set up on the ceiling or something, then I would be switched over automatically to the Helium Mobile service. To do this, you do have to activate it on the app. It's called dynamic coverage. And you just have to activate it the same way that you would with the mapping. But once it's activated, you'll automatically switch over to Helium networks once you go into the range of one of those hotspots. In the outdoor hotspot, it's a wider range, it's a longer range. So you could be in a shopping plaza, and if somebody has one set up, then you would be in that range where you get coverage from Helium instead of T-Mobile. And so that benefits Helium in 2 different ways. First, if the T-Mobile service is already congested in that area, then the Helium hotspots that are set up will be able to relieve some of that congestion and provide coverage to somebody who may be struggling to use their data or make phone calls, because T-Mobile customers, they get priority over Helium Mobile customers and Mint Mobile customers. I've had my phone call dropped a couple of times, and I've also been not been able to use my data a few times in super congested areas. So Helium Mobile would be able to solve some of that and relieve some of that congestion where you can start using your data. And then the other thing is, if you're in an area where the T-Mobile service isn't that great, then those hotspots will be able to provide a little bit more coverage, giving you a boost of coverage in that area. So those are the 2 main things that I want to point out in regards to that hybrid coverage. Like I said, you can go into the store and buy one of these for yourself if you want to provide coverage. I wouldn't suggest doing it unless you are able to set it up in a really good area. And so that's the difference in network coverage. I'm going to go ahead and get into the international roaming. By the way, if you could do me a favor and hit that like button, I really would appreciate it. Let's go ahead and get back into the video. So for the Helium plan, international roaming can be bought as an add-on, and it is going to be $15 per gig. That includes 60 minutes of calling and then 100 text messages. You have to use it within 30 days. You could buy it through the app, and then you could buy up to 20 gigs. And that data is capped. It's not slowed down. So once you use all that data, then that's it. You're not able to use the data anymore. It doesn't get slowed down. So that's the option that you have with international roaming with Helium. Now with Mint Mobile, they have a few different options here. They have a 1-day pass, a 3-day pass, and a 10-day pass. The 1-day pass is $5. You get 1 gig and 60 minutes of calling and 60 text messages. The 3-day option is $10. You'll get 3 gigs, and then you get 200 minutes of calling and then 200 text messages. And then the last one is the 10-day pass. That's $20. You get 10 gigs, 500 minutes of calling, and then 500 text messages. So when you buy the pass, you have 360 days to use it. And once you activate the pass within that time frame, then you'll have the exact time frame amount. So if you have a 1-day pass, let's say it's $170 1:17 p.m. on a Monday, then you activate that plan. Then you have until 1:17 p.m. on Tuesday before that plan expires. All right, it's the same thing with the 3-day and the 10-day. It's to the minute. You can buy one and activate it, and then you can buy 2 more to store so that you can use them for later. And so those are the differences between Helium and Mint as far as international roaming. Let's go ahead and get into the next difference. Now, as far as the difference in customer service, Helium Mobile and Mint Mobile, they both have a chat option. With Helium Mobile, they have an AI chatbot that is superior to Mint Mobile. You can go onto the app and chat with this chatbot. It does a really good job of answering your question. You're able to get what you need out of it. With Mint Mobile, the chat option is not that great. They kind of answer very basic questions, and if they can't answer it, then they kind of just lead you back to their website where there's like a frequently asked questions section. And that's another thing. Helium Mobile and Mint Mobile both have a good FAQ section, so commonly asked questions, you can go on the website and look at those. Helium Mobile does very good with their chatbot. If you want to chat with a live person, then you can do that as well. The only thing is they don't have anyone that you can call for regular customer service. If you are a new customer and you need help activating and setting up your plan, then you can set up and schedule a phone call, but it sounds like they're not really prioritizing phone calls as customer service. You just basically have to either email them or chat with them. Usually they're really good with their response times, but I know a lot of people are going to be turned off by that because a lot of people like to just talk with somebody on the phone. So that's what you're going to get with Helium Mobile as far as customer service. But I will say, whether you're talking to the chat bot or you're talking to a live person through the chat, they're very, very knowledgeable on their product. And so most of the questions that I've ever answered have been answered, and they've been answered very, very thoroughly and within a timely manner. And I'll put up on the screen the time frames that you're able to speak with someone live, but you can talk to the chat bot 24/7 if you need to. Mint Mobile, on the other hand, their chat is not that great, but you can call somebody. And usually when you call someone, they're very, very knowledgeable on the product. You can call someone, or you can use the chat, or you can just go on the website to the frequently asked questions. Either way, your question should not go unanswered. And I will say this, even though Helium only uses the chat bot, and even though Mint Mobile prioritizes phone calls, or they have the chat bot option as well, both of the customer service experiences, in my experience, has been great. They're very knowledgeable. They answer in a timely manner. I can understand them. Everything is really good. So at this point, it's just a matter of preference, whether you would want to be able to talk with somebody over the phone, or if you're okay with chatting with someone or with a chat bot. So those are the differences in customer service. Let's go ahead and get into the next difference. So for activation and setup, both Helium and Mint have the physical SIM cards available as well as the electronic SIM cards available. Let's start with Helium first. Helium, you do need to have unlocked phones, and the phones have to be, if you're with Apple, iOS 14 or newer, and if you're with Android, it has to be Android 11 or newer. And you can verify if your phone is compatible on the website before you even start to go through the activation process. Of course, eSIM is going to be quicker and more efficient. Helium does okay with telling you step by step how to do these plans, but like I said, you can contact them and try to set up a call to where they can help you activate it. But you do need to be a little bit tech savvy and kind of know what you're doing as far as the setup. I would suggest, if you're going to choose Helium, that you have a phone that has eSIM capability. I have an iPhone 13 and I have both my lines on this phone. They're both eSIMs. Physical SIM cards, you have to wait for them to come in the mail, and if you want the phone service right then and there, then the eSIM is going to be a lot better. And then you do end up having to activate this phone plan with Helium through the app. So you do need to be a little tech savvy to be able to use this and set it up, but it's really not that difficult. They do an okay job with telling you how to go about setting everything up. It's really not that hard. With Mint Mobile, on the other hand, of course, like I said, they have the physical SIM option. If you do end up doing the physical SIM, you got to wait for it to come in the mail, but they do have a whole activation card with a barcode, and it's a little little bit more helpful in that way, where it kind of gives you a little bit more information on how to activate and set up the plan. And then of course they do have the eSIM option. Like I said, it's going to be quicker and it's going to be more efficient. They do require that your phones be unlocked, but they do accept older phones. You could have an iPhone 6 or newer. You could have a Galaxy S8 or newer, a Galaxy Note 8 or newer. And then of course you could check the compatibility of your phone through their website. And with Mint Mobile, you don't need to have the app to be able to activate your phone. You could do it straight through the website, and I'm sure that you can just call to get help on figuring out how to activate your phone, or if you need to transfer your phone number over and things of that nature. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the mobile app experience. With Mint Mobile, you'll have a dashboard section, your My Plan section, your contact support section, and then your account section. All of these options are kind of self-explanatory. You have to go through them and see. You can see how much data you've used, how much data you have left, what plan you're on, how much time you have left on your plan. You can contact support through the chat bot or through phone call, customer service. And then in your account, this is where you can check to see what the international roaming is. You'd have to look into the account to see all those kinds of things. But overall, the Mint Mobile app is very smooth and intuitive, and it gives you everything that you need to be able to use the plan. And then for the Helium mobile app, you're gonna have some added crypto components that are optional. Like I said, you'll have the mapping that you can look at, and then you have the dynamic coverage that you can look at, as well as other options that I'll talk about in just a second. First, you got your wallet. Your wallet is a crypto component. If you want to use that section of the app, you're gonna have to know what it means to send and receive your tokens that you're receiving from your mapping rewards, and some other basic information about crypto as far as sending and receiving these tokens. Within the wallet app, you're going to be able to see how many tokens you have and a history of your transactions. And then you can also go into your wallet to claim the unclaimed tokens that you've received as a reward from your mapping. And then you got the mapping section itself. This is where you can go and activate the mapping. You can see if you've met your 40 spaces for the day, to where you can get rewarded at the end of the day. And then you can see a history of all the tokens that you've received each day. I think it goes up to 30 days, the past 30 days. That's the mapping. And then there's a store option where you can go into their store and you can buy different phones, you can buy some merchandise, and you can also buy the indoor and the outdoor hotspot. And you can do this with the tokens that you've received as a reward for the mapping. So if you save your tokens, you might have enough to be able to buy one of these things with the tokens that you received. There's other things within the Helium mobile app that I'm not going to talk about too much, but you basically going to get the same thing you have with Mint, where you get everything that you need to be able to run the phone service, but it also has that crypto component added to it with the mapping, the wallets, and all that other stuff. You can kind of mess around with it and figure it out yourself. But overall, the mobile app experience with Helium mobile is very nice as well. They're both really smooth and intuitive. So those are all the differences that I have. Now let me go ahead and explain the reason why I have both of these lines. It's pretty simple. I switched over to Helium Mobile in December of 2024. 2 weeks later, I had to get Mint because I ran out of hotspot tethering. So Mint Mobile, like I said before, you can get the 5 gig plan, and that could be used for personal use or for hotspot tethering. So I decided I would get that 5 gig plan. So I'll have 5 gigs of hotspot from Mint Mobile and then 5 gigs of hotspot from Helium Mobile. Unfortunately, right now, Helium Mobile doesn't have the option to buy more hotspot data. So I have to settle with having 2 different phone lines here. And I've enjoyed it anyway. I have 2 different phone lines. I feel like I'm a businessman now. And so that's the reason why I have both of these phone lines. If I were to choose one, I would prefer to have the Helium Mobile because I'm a crypto enthusiast, first of all. And then also I get rewarded for turning on the mapping. So it essentially just brings my bill down from $20 a month to about $5, because I get about $15 to $16 a month from the rewards, and that can change based on the token price, of course. But that just adds to the amount that I receive in earnings from all of these deep-in projects. I get about $350 a month on average from crypto deep-in projects. So if you want to know more about that, you can click on this video right here. Make sure you like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you. God bless.